What's up, guys? Let's give it up for Will. Let's give it up for Treese. All right. My friend's got a racist dog, and it's his second racist dog. So now, I got some questions. Don't know about you guys, but I think the acceptable limit for racist dogs is one per person per lifetime. I mean, one racist dog, that could be random, I'll give you that. Everyone's allowed one. By the second racist dog, kind of feel like there's some learned behavior at play. Kind of seems like a nature versus nurture situation. And my money's on nurture. Kind of doubt, dog's born a puppy, opens up its puppy eyes, just looks around and says, "I hate Koreans." As Confucius says, one racist dog, shame on dog. Two racist dog, shame on you. Plan to do a bunch of self-deprecating humor, but I think I suck at it. So let's talk about Cocaine Bear. I saw the movie Cocaine Bear, and I enjoyed it. Had my own run-in with the Cocaine Bear. It was at a club in D.C. Gotta tell you, didn't enjoy it as much. Found out in the gay community I'm what's known as a cub. As a straight male with baby bear-like features, encountering a coked-up Yogi Bear in the wilds of DuPont, it's rarely advisable to find yourself the boo-boo in the situation. In that context, hiding Mr. Ranger's picnic basket means something way different. I'm not a wildlife expert, but kind of think he was looking for a bi-curious case of Benjamin Bottom. I was not receptive, and to be honest, I don't really want to talk about it. Wrote those jokes myself. Had to write the entire set myself. I tried to get ChatGPT to help me. The stuff I asked it to do was way too dark. The AI did not comply. I was like, ChatGPT, write me some hilarious jokes about trauma. It was like, no. I know, right? Self-righteous, sentient bastard. Do it myself. My mom was diagnosed with ovarian cancer the day I graduated from college. And she died after a long battle. I was her caregiver the last 6 months of her life. So I watched her just deal with something so incredibly difficult with such just courage and love and hope and optimism and a lot of dark humor. That was kind of our love language that we had. So when she passed away, I wanted to honor her. So I started raising money for the Ovarian Cancer Coalition. If this is where the story ended, by the way, I'd come off way better than I'm about to. Hi, Nema, hell of a guy, just raising money for cancer, honoring his mom. It'd be like Breaking Bad ending halfway through the first episode, Walter White, just chemistry teacher, family man, cares about his troubled students, rated G for everyone. Anyway, so the big event for the Ovarian Cancer Coalition was they had a 5K they did every year, and I was trying to raise money for it, and I would invite all my friends, and I'd send out a message, and it said, "The race for the cure is on whatever dates. We hope we'll see you there." And people reply back, and they say, "Oh, we're so sorry we can't make it. We have a wedding that weekend." And I couldn't help myself, so I replied back and said, "My mom used to love weddings." Then she died tragically of cancer. I thought it was funny. Some of them didn't find it as funny as I did, but you can't really argue with the results. You know, I'm a hell of a fundraiser. I tell you what, those shame donations kind of rolled in, like Sarah McLachlan. You know, like, I see your suffering animals and I raise you dead parents. It worked no matter what the excuse was. Found out my mom loved weddings, funerals, Little League games, conferences, getting kidney transplants. Truly an eclectic woman. You know, the irony is my mom would have loved that joke. But, well, you know. Thanks for letting me joke parachute my way out of that topic. I didn't really have a good transition or segue. You know what's great at segues? Old mom. That's the old joke parachute. The old joke parachute. It's like a nervous tick that I have. I was listening to this episode of Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. It's a podcast. And Conan shared something on the episode that was just so emotional and vulnerable. And for the briefest of moments, he was left wide open and raw. But it didn't last, and he immediately diffused it with a joke. But his guest caught it, and he said, you couldn't just leave that vulnerability there, could you? You needed that joke parachute at the end. I do that. I relate to that. I don't think I've ever related to anything more in my entire life than that. You know, I find something vulnerable, and it's dark, and then I go darker and darker, and then eventually, you know, I find some light, I think, out of it. It's how we process trauma. You know, we all have trauma. We all process it differently. Listen, like, trauma is not a competition. It's not. But it fucking should be. I've been putting in work, you know. I compete. I do. I mean, I compete here, you know, in affluent areas like America. I don't fuck around with third world trauma. That shit's fierce, you know. Bunch of tragedy show-offs down there. That's like the trauma NBA. I'm more of like an and one mixtape trauma guy. Out in the burbs, call me Brown Magic. Just throwing behind the back dimes to hot sauce, making that shit rain. Oh, that was fun. Let's go darker. My dad died violently before I was born. He was killed by the Ayatollah. And my mother was pregnant with me, and she had to escape Iran on horseback. Very harrowing journey over the mountains of Turkey. My sister wrote a best-selling book about it. I make fucked up jokes and a bunch of strangers, so, you know, same thing, you know, basically same thing. I was at one of her book readings, and my sister had just shared a very emotional passage in the book about the loss and the escape and the journey. And afterwards, this woman walked up to me, and she knew I was her brother, and she said, "What do you think about your sister's book?" And I said, "It was beautifully written. I'm very proud of her." And she looks at me with this compassion and empathy in her eyes, and she says, "Was it difficult for you to read?" And I said, "No, not really. I learned how to read when I was a kid, and once I kind of got some momentum going, it was really it wasn't really an issue for me." She just stares at me blankly, and she just keeps going. And she's like, "Your mom's pregnant with you, riding on horseback over the mountains of Turkey, knowing if she gets caught, it's certain death, and you wouldn't even exist. So that might make you feel some feelings." And I said, "Yeah, I mean, I feel really grateful, happy to be alive. But I also wish they hadn't hit every single pothole on the road to freedom." Then I started telling about my learning disabilities. Conversation ended right there. I've got the learning disabilities. That's plural, by the way, disabilities. It's like a Pokemon Go situation. Gotta catch them all. I did. I got them. I remember being a kid and they test you with this shape test. They bring out all these little tiles. They're various polygons and trapezoids and triangles and, parallelograms. And they had these pictures. You're supposed to arrange the tiles to make what's on the picture. I'm not a shape guy, guys. I don't do shapes. Never have been great at them. I probably never will be. It's not my thing. So I failed the shape test, and they put me in the B program, which is like a study hall for kids that need extra help. Kind of a fucked up thing they call it the B program. Got learning disabilities, but even I know that B is lower than A. Give me some credit. Anyway, so they put me in the program, and there was no C program. So let's just say there was a diverse group of children in this particular study hall. We had that one kid that smelled like fires. Now, my theory on that kid was that he started fires. I don't know what you guys thought was going on there, but that's what I deduced. Deduction was never my issue. Your boy deduces. It's the fucking shapes I can't really figure out. We had a lot of fringe kids like me. We saw it cast in school plays, but mostly as trees. If that helps kind of illustrate the situation. And then, every B program has a hardened veteran. Kid looks way too old to be there. Like a Dominican kid at the Little League World Series. But he's a good shit, though, He kind of rough around the edges, but got some good in him. You can tell. He tries to hide it, but it's there. I walk into my first day. Kid walks up and says, "So, what are you in for?" I say, "Shapes." He just gets it, It's kind of weird to have a specific skill set that you overcome as a kid that then reemerges when you become an adult. I turned 40, and so I decided it was time to buy my first tool set. Some people turn 40 and they make partner at a law firm or have a third kid. Now, for me, I invested in oven mitts and my first tool set. Figured that would trick women to think I have my shit together. I was like, oh, he's got a tool set, so how bad can he be? And all the tools come separately, and you gotta arrange them in the box. I'm just staring down at this thing, and I can't figure it out. And I'm like, well. It isn't my arch nemesis, Rhombus. We meet again. I've spent most of my adult life in an open relationship with myself. It's a nice way of saying single, mostly single. But if conditions are right, I'd be fucking. So, naturally, as a single guy, I go to a lot of baby showers. It's a good environment for me, Meet single women. All the talk of babies that gets the lady hormones going, and they can just tell I own a tool set. I was at a baby shower recently, and women love games at baby showers. That's their whole thing, right? There was this one game they played called Labor or Porn. And the way it worked with that game is there was these sheets of paper, and I had all these pictures of women's faces on it. And you're supposed to tell whether... You're supposed to be able to tell whether the facial expression the woman's making is from being in labor or a sex face because they're in a porn. I'm a competitive guy, so I'm like, game on, ladies. I get them all right. And way too quickly. I gotta tell you, that's not something you want to get all right. In a room full of women. Probably should have missed a few. And taken my time while I was doing it. Anyway, so they announced the results and I won. But did I? It's hard to imagine a more shameful walk of victory than the one that I did. Just walking to the front of the room. Just scattered, lackluster applause. Just faces of disgust. Get to the front and I collect my prize. It was an assortment of bath bombs. I'll admit they were delightful. Not worth it though, I gotta tell you. I mean, getting laid, bath bombs. The woman who was running the event, she said, it also appears that Nema has written the names of the porn stars on the sheet. In retrospect, that was a mistake. I mean, I know that now.
Come on, Nema.
But like in the moment, that Middle Eastern upbringing, need for approval kind of kicked in. I was like, extra credit. Anyway, when you're in a situation like that, you just gotta own it, They're staring at me with disgust, and I just stare back. I'm like, what can I say, ladies? I'm studious. Study hard, avid learner. I did not get laid that night. Went home alone. Continued my studies. I am dating, though. I've been dating. Thank you. Thank you. My family would love for me to end up with a Persian woman. That would be ideal. But I'm getting a little older, so they're kind of rooting for like a Hallmark Christmas movie, like Persian edition. Traditional Hallmark Christmas movie is big city girl moves back to the small town she grew up in, inherits a Christmas tree farm, marries the town firefighter. For Persian version, let's go with guy who disappoints his parents by not becoming a doctor, falls in love with woman after her arranged marriage falls apart due to a dowry dispute. And then together they start a kebab shop. Might be like a Lady and the Tramp scene in my future. I'm just kind of rolling the last falafel over to her with my nose. That's actually not a Persian food, by the way. Half you guys know that, so hope you're happy, you insensitive fucks. I mean, maybe it's Persian, I don't know. I mean, who knows? Brown people be claiming food. They do. It's like feta cheese. Is it Greek? Is it Persian? Delicious cheese, unknown origins. I am dating a Persian woman now, though. Pretty exciting. Yeah, very excited about it. Our families know each other because all Persian families know each other. They talk about us like we're Clydesdales. They're like, oh yes, they come from a great family, good lineage. excellent pedigree, good breeding stock. The family makes it kind of weird. But they're happy, and I gotta tell you, I'm starting to get kind of serious, you know?
Yeah.
I've never been in love because of all the stuff I said previously.
Let's go.
When you've never been in love, but then you're falling in love, it's all new to you, but everyone else is just really familiar. So you become like a loud advocate for the most obvious thing in the world. Like a food critic recommending love. Like, have you guys tried this? Have you had this? Have you had the love? Oh my God. I mean, I tell you what, 10 out of 10 for me. I mean, kind of a tough critic, but if you haven't dabbled in the love, I recommend it. It's a good thing. Out there recommending love, like recommending the most revered thing. It's like watching Jurassic Park in 1993, then like going to a time portal 30 years in the future, popping out and being like, you guys seen Jurassic Park? It's a great film. I mean, seriously. They're like, what are you talking about, like the new one? Like, no. I mean, it's called Jurassic Park. It's about dinosaurs. They're like, dude, we know. What are you even talking about? I'm talking about dinosaurs. Just wasn't sure if you guys knew that was what's up. Wasn't sure you guys be fucking with dinosaurs is what I'm saying, but it sounds like you are, so, you know, respect. I'm a lobbyist for something that doesn't require one. Like coming. Have you guys tried that? Have you guys done it? I mean, if you haven't, recommend it. You know, give that a twirl. Doesn't last long, you know, only a few seconds, but I gotta tell you, most of my behavior seems to be in pursuit of those few seconds, so may want to give it a go. Hey, speaking of coming, there's a mental health crisis in this country. Especially among the men. I think all men should be in therapy. Shit's a panty dropper for sure, I gotta tell you. I love therapy. Women love a man in therapy. Tell you what, I'm only 5'6", but therapy's a new 6'2", so got that going for me, which is nice. I appear to have grown a lot in therapy. I don't mean figuratively. Women are like, you look taller. I'm like, thanks. It's the therapy. They were learning about the old therapy sales pitch to men way, way wrong. You know, it's like, you want to grow as a person, become more vulnerable, find yourself as a human? Nope. Want more pussy? Yep. Hooray, we did it, guys. Let's put the men in mental health. It's kind of created a little bit of friction, though, with my therapist. He asked me what I want to gain from therapy. Apparently, more pussy is not the correct answer. Kind of hypocritical. He's the guy always preaching about the importance of honesty. It's like, make up your mind, Lance. Sending some mixed messages my way. May have to break up with him, though, you know? I mean, a little scared because he's a great therapist. I mean, the better the therapist, the harder the breakup. It's like a video game boss fight on expert mode. I'm like, give it up, Lance. You taught me everything you know. He's like, not everything. Hadouken! Yoga flame. It's a deep cut for my 90s people out there. Let's do a little blasphemy, shall we? That'll be fun. Religion's a big deal in this country. Christianity and Judaism are the Coke and Pepsi of religion. We all know which one's Pepsi. Not bad-mouthing Pepsi, it's a fine beverage. Kind of reminds me a lot of Coke, if I'm being honest. I think they were both on similar paths and encountered creative differences along the way. Not sure if you guys knew this, but the guy who created Coke used to work for Pepsi. This was back in like the before Coke times. They called it BC. He was a big Pepsi guy, and then he got an idea, and he had some early adopters. He had 12 dudes and a hooker, and then and boom, now we got Coke, you know? Praise be to Cola. It's weird because irrespective of the similarities between Coke and Pepsi, they're rarely a suitable replacement for one another. Walking to a Taco Bell, you're like, I'll have a Coke. Guy's like, is Pepsi okay? You're like, nah. I'll just have water. It's like walking to a synagogue, being like, I'll take Jesus the Messiah. Rabbi's like, best I can do is Jesus the person. Nah, I'll just do atheism today. It's weird because most people don't choose Coke or Pepsi. It's kind of chosen for them at birth. I mean, Pepsi is the chosen soda. But if you're from a Pepsi family and you're a kid, you do a sleepover at a Coke household, and it's Sunday morning, you wake up, they try to feed you some Coke, you're getting a call from your parents later. It's a boundary you don't cross. Just a little blasphemy, just a little bit, just a little bit. It's fine. I talked to God, he's cool with it. He's omnipotent. He's got a hell of a chin on him, that God. I do believe in God, though. I do, and I want to believe in heaven, and so I shall. I kind of want my sins graded on a curve, though. Not just because, like, all the commandments sound really hard to follow, but it's because if you follow all those rules, you're a fucking nerd. Why would I spend the afterlife with all the people I try to avoid in actual life? You know? I'd be like being in high school and a bunch of losers are like, hey, want to come over and check out my Pog collection? And I'm like, yeah, I can't make it, but like, how about in a bunch of decades or less, depending on my life choices, we'll just link up for, you know, all of eternity. No thanks. Not for me. I'm in it for the cool kid heaven. I'm in the cool kid heaven. I just hope I get in. You know, hope I get in. I'm worried about the text transcripts, to be honest. That's the thing I'm most worried about. My friends and I kind of have like this total commitment to the joke. We just keep on going further and further, and it gets pretty dark. I mean, what if that's like how heaven is determined? You know, it's just St. Pete just reading text transcripts. And he's like, Nema, did you really compare religion to soft drinks? And blame your mother's courageous escape from persecution for your learning disabilities? And I'm like, well, yeah, out of context, it sounds really bad. Then I provide the context and makes it sound worse. Like, I thought it'd be funny. Mom and Dad are just behind St. Pete. They're already in the club. They're just like, well, son, you're on your own. I'm like, yeah, what else is new? All right, so last time I did stand-up, I did a show and I called it Disappointing Our Parents. Oh. And I actually didn't think much about the title. It was just something that kind of like made me laugh, and so I used it. But I tell you, like in retrospect, kind of looking back on my journey and what it took to get here, I think my parents would be pretty proud of me, to be honest. I don't think they'd be disappointed at all that I'm doing this. Oh. I think they'd be disappointed if I hadn't. Thank you so much, guys. Yeah.